So here's my scene, and you can see that I've tried to add just a few trees without going overboard. And they're just there for reference. They're just so that I can say, maybe I need to add a few more trees on the side here. And maybe these trees are dense enough, I don't need something in the background, but over here, I don't want to see the horizon, so I got to add some stuff there. They're just there to get started, just there for reference. You don't want to do too much yet. Okay, and then the next thing, let's find a good position for our camera. So we're either trying to move back or we're trying to move forward. And what you need to keep in mind here is that perspectives change as we move about the project. So if I was all the way back here and I felt like, boy, the house sure looks too small, don't worry about it. We could actually still use this very perspective, because once we establish a camera, we'll just simply zoom in. And zooming is different than approaching. Okay, as I get closer to things, the perspective of them will change just a little bit. If you had a great big overhang, it'll look much more dramatic up close than if you get back where everything just seems to kind of flatten out. Okay, so think about what perspective you really like. Think about what the surroundings are doing. And then when you feel like you're ready, go down here to the media tab. And there's a few different types of media. The only one we're going to explore in this video is the first one, which is just an image, just a still shot image. The next one, videos, that's a pretty popular one too, but we won't be doing that just yet. Okay, and then down here, we don't have any images set up, and I think of these as cameras. Okay, it says add image, but to me it's like we're going to set our camera on a tripod right here. And if you click on that, it's going to preserve that very image, whatever shows up right here, that's now preserved. And if you go back into quit media mode, this is just like a regular working environment. And let's say that I move over here. Again, I'm not in media mode until I come back to my image. And if I click on it, it's going to take me right back to where we used to be. And if we go over here to our properties, you'll see that there are many things that we can change about this view still. So for example, if we go into the actual camera settings, there's a focal length. So I can still pull this forward, and again, remember this is actually zooming in or out, so it won't change the perspective. But maybe we decide we want to get a little bit closer. We like it somewhere in here, and you should just go through lots of these settings and maybe just explore some of the more obvious ones. You know, some of them will mean something to you, some of them won't, and it never hurts to just try. So exposure, for example. We want more or less. Yeah, it was pretty good right where it was at. You can always hit Control-Z and go right back to where you were. How about white balance? Do you want this thing to be more warm or cool tones? And etc. The thing is, if you make any changes, you need to know that they aren't going to stick until you come over here and click Update or Refresh. Okay, now any setting that I've put in there is going to remain. And for example, if I go to environment, I might decide I would like to have a different time of day than what's currently here. So I might just pull this over, and we can see a bunch of shadows now on the front of the house. I'm going to go ahead and update that, which, by the way, it's never a good idea to have the whole front or whatever you're looking at in shadow. But this isn't bad because part of it is and part of it isn't. Okay, so anyways, I hit refresh. Now when I hit quit media mode, notice that we immediately reverted back to the way that it used to be. And that's once again because this is a work environment that is totally separate from what's happening in a camera. So in a camera, I might do this. I might come over here for this shot, and I'm going to establish it, and I'm going to say I want this one to be night mode. So we're going to turn this down, and eventually I'll have lights that are glowing and that kind of thing. But let's hit refresh. And so this one now is always going to be in night mode, and this one never will be until I go and make that change again. And once again, there are lots of settings here, and you just have to have fun, pay attention to the ones that you think matter. This is kind of fun. I can put in clouds in the sky. If I keep going, I can change the precipitation, the season, the state of the trees. See if I can make these turn to winter, and now the trees are gone, or the leaves are gone, and now they're going to, now they're going to turn to fall colors. So some neat things that you can do, but you'll just find there are lots of things that you can do. and it's almost overwhelming. So let's really focus on what are the important ones. And I think for right now, it's going to be things like what's the lighting, what's the exposure, how close is the camera, do we want to zoom in or out? And then the last one that really is important is under the image tab. And it's down here under format. And this gives you the size of the image that you're going to be using. And you can think of this, unfortunately, as resolution or pixels, not in inches. And I say unfortunately because it would almost be easier if it were in inches, because then you could say I want it to be an 11 by 17 or an 8.5 by 11 or a large poster, but you can't do that. Instead, you're going to give it a size just using pixels. And the easiest way to do this, to know a little bit about what you're getting, is to just go into a Google search and say 11 by 17, and then give it a DPI, which is dots per inch. And because we want this to be kind of a nicer quality image, we're going to go with either 250 DPI or 300 DPI. So let's see what it does if I say at 250 DPI. Okay, and you know what I want here is just a quick answer, and it didn't give it to me, so I'm going to go to an AI engine. I guess I got to go to Google for that. So you can always do the math on this. Like it's very possible to just do the math, but it's also very easy for AI to just do it for you. So an 11 by 17 at 250 requires these dimensions in pixels. So let's go back here. I've got to remember that. 2750 by 4250. Oops. Sorry, wrong screen. Oh boy. I'm in a virtual machine and now I'm all confused. And I'm going to pause the video because I don't know what I'm looking at. Okay, we're good. We're back. So 2750 by 450. I'm going to go back into Twinmotion. And I'm going to plug in those numbers. Yeah, and of course I got them wrong, so I switched them around. Let me fix that. Okay, that's better. So I've got the size set for this one, and when I'm ready to actually export it, these numbers are going to matter. So right now it's just kind of giving me the proportion, right? But when I go and export, then that's going to actually determine just how good is the quality of this image. And so at lower resolution, it's going to be lower quality. At higher resolution, it's going to be higher quality. And it's a good idea to set this up right away, early on in the process, because if I don't, I might have a picture that is proportionally much wider than it's supposed to be, such as this one here. I can tell that this one is elongated compared to this one here. And so if I wanted it to be 11 by 17, I would come back and do the same thing. And this is going to be my 4250. This is going to be my 2750. And now I've got the right proportions. I can go back through my settings and decide if I want to get closer or do whatever I need to. And that's how it works. You can set up as many of these as you want. Let's see if the size actually stuck. Good, it did. I'm still going to refresh this. But you can set up as many of these as you want, so you can kind of compare that way, which one looks better, which one do I really like. And when you're finally done and you're ready to have that as an exported image, then you'll come over here to export and click on the plus image. And then whichever ones you want to export, you'll select here. So if this is the one that I want, it's going to tell you you've got one selected. If I had more, then that number would change. Then tell it what format. We're going to do these most of the time as JPEGs. And then tell it where you want it to export. And let's see, we want to do a local. So actually, I don't think I need to do anything there. Just come down here and click on Start Export. Save it wherever you want to. Give it just a few minutes to do the rendering, and then you'll have that. And keep in mind that you're not actually naming the file here. You're just picking the folder where it's going to be saved to. So if I go to my Twinmotion folder, there it is. That's all it's going to say right here, Twinmotion. It's not the name of the picture, it's just the name of the directory. Select folder, and it's going to start rendering. And when it's all done, I'll have a JPEG that I can go and open up and submit as an assignment if I need to. You know, if this is just a preliminary rendering, then maybe this is all I need to do. If it's more of a final rendering, then of course we're going to go back in and we're really going to set up this scene, add in a lot more assets and trees and more scenery to make it look good. In my case, at that resolution, we're looking at just a couple of minutes. Oh, not even that anymore. It looks like it's about done. And the bigger the resolution, the longer it's going to take. But still shot images typically don't take that long. Videos, on the other hand, they will take a little bit to render. But yeah, that's what you need to know to get started.